I just want to comment on the sexual assault allegation that is plaguing so many men. Now, I mentioned on my prior video that men are under attack. You would be blind not to be able to see what's going on with today's political agenda. Now, Roy Moore, I have to be honest, I really don't know much about this dude. But now, all of a sudden, he's being accused of sexual assault that took place in the past. So now, all of these so-called or alleged sexual assaults that allegedly happened years ago are now starting to resurface. That has become today's fad. From Bill Clinton to Donald Trump, Bill Cosby, Kevin Spacey, Roy Moore, and now I just got done reading an article where the executive of DC Comic are now being accused of sexual assault or harassment by a number of females. This is a political agenda. Now, keep in mind, the Democrats are trying so hard to get Donald Trump and people that surrounding Donald Trump out of position. They're trying to gain ground for political reasons. And it's selfish political reason. It has nothing to do with the people. Now, they will use the people's concerns to advance their own political agenda. So now, gang stalking, sexual allegations have become the norm. Gang stalking for political agendas, for personal political agenda that have nothing to do with the people. Check this out. First, they were using Black Lives Matter. All of these white people, all of these political figures were carrying signs shouting Black Lives Matter, getting black people riled up, getting black people thinking that they were concerned about the condition of black folk. Well, the condition of black people have not changed. It's still the same. They were protesting regarding illegal immigrants. Let them in, let them in, let them in, because they didn't want Donald Trump in office. They were against Donald Trump solely because of the fact that he won the election. And all of these females were crying because Hillary Clinton didn't get in. So she stood up and said, resist. So people started resisting. Barack Obama stood up and said, he's not fit to be president. So now everybody, even foreign leaders, are saying he's not fit to be president. Can't you see how you are being manipulated and controlled? It's like people are brainwashed. They're under some type of hypnotic spell. And they only act out when they are given commands to act out by political figures that's only trying to promote their own personal agenda. But a question came to my mind earlier today. When I read about what's going on with Roy Moore, because now they're trying to get him to resign. And I read on Twitter where some Democrats were even laughing and saying, now we have to try to get Justice, what's his name? Trying to get him now to resign. everyone that's around Trump, they're trying to get them to resign. And they're using false allegations, because we just heard in the news, it just came out, which they're not really pushing it. It just came out in the news recently that all of this alleged Russia relationship that Trump had, it backfired. Now it's Hillary Clinton that paid for that. They paid for that lie to come out regarding Donald Trump. So it backfired, but yet we're not hearing about all of these crimes that it came out and they know about it. Now it's out in the media that Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all of those crimes that they committed, that's punishable by prison, now pushed in the background, because all it takes is a few females to come out and say, well, I was sexually assaulted back in 1932 when I was 12 years old. When I was 12 years old, he looked at me funny. He sexual assaulted me. So I was 12, but now I'm like 184 years old. So then social media is going to jump on that. The media is going to push it. And then you have all of these females that's going to start coming out. All of these old people, dead bones getting up out of the grave, rising, they're walking. He molested me too. He molested me too. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to put that in the media. So we have about 32 old skeleton bones that rose from the dead and said that he sexually molested them when they were 2 years old, when they was 4 years old, when they were 17 years old. He touched them sexually back in 1843. And the media is going to jump on it, and they're going to start talking about, well, he need to get fired. How are these men getting fired for something, just an allegation? There's no facts. Nobody's coming with no facts, no hardcore evidence. At least Monica Lewinsky had a dress with some semen on it. So, but now they have nothing. All they got to do is come forward and say, he did this to me, and they'll lose their job. Okay, now we have to get somebody else for this movie because, you know, when he was back in time in the 90s or in the 80s, he made moves on this boy. So now you don't get the part no more. As long as your sins were covered up, you're cool. Because Hollywood is perverted and full of perversion. But now that it's out in the open, yo, we got to get rid of you, man. We don't want to be around you now. Right? This is some madness going on. But you know what? The thought came to my mind earlier. And listen very carefully. If it's so easy for all these females, the gang stalk, to come out of somebody's past, now keep in mind, they never, ever mentioned it until it's time for this person to run for political office, or until there's a certain agenda that they're trying to push. Oh, it's quiet now. None of this stuff would have ever come out. Roy Moore would not be attacked. Kevin Spacey would not be attacked. None of these guys would be attacked if they didn't have an agenda. So now they have to pay now for what allegedly was done in the past with no evidence, with no proof. But again, like I thought earlier, since all of these females are coming out gang stalking these men because men are under attack, and because social media is playing into that to promote somebody's political agenda, then I think it should be fair across the board. These females that have made passes at men to promote their careers, All of these females that came and spoke to executives or spoke to someone who had some type of power, that was in position of authority, and told these men, I'll do anything if I can just get my modeling career on its right path. I'll do anything. I'll do anything for a part in the movie. I'll do anything to be in a music video. I'll do anything. All of these females that put themselves out for sale as an offer to promote their careers or to give them a part or role in a movie, all of those females should be brought up on charges of prostitution. If these men are now having to pay for these allegations of these females that's coming forward now, these are females that have already gotten what they wanted. They made a deal with the devil, and they got what they wanted. They got their careers. They were able to go and shop at fancy stores or go to fancy restaurants. They were the woman or the lady of the evening because they wanted to promote their careers. They wanted to be able to rise, like these men are in position of power. So just same thing that's happening with rappers. You got all these rappers, man, that's now in the limelight. They're making all this money. Floyd Mayweather, and he's constantly surrounded by women. All of these dudes that's got power now are surrounded by women because these females want a piece of that pie. They want you to treat them, take them out, buy them nice things, put them in nice hotels, buy them a car. So these dudes would do that. They would give these females what they want, and then they would have sex with these females. 20 years down the line, these same females come back and say, he touched me. He sexually assaulted me. He sexually molested me, but yet you prostituted yourself to this man for those things. You told that executive that you would do anything to get a role in a movie, or you'll do anything to be in a music video, or you would do anything to launch your modeling career. So you gave him what he wanted, and he gave you what you wanted. Fair exchange. So now if these guys have to pay for these so-called allegations without any type of evidence, unless of course they admit it, like Kevin Spacey did, unless these men admit it, there's no evidence to convict these men or for these men to lose their job or positions. It's all political. Now watch, these Democrats are going to go down the Republican road, and they're going to try to find things with these Republicans to bring it forward in the media. Even if these Republicans have a clean background, they're going to send multiple females out to accuse these guys. He touched me. He sexually assaulted me. He came up behind me and groped me. Without no evidence. And then they call for this guy to resign on just the words of these females. No evidence. Just the words. And these guys are losing position. All because of the fact they have a political agenda to dethrone Donald Trump. And guess what? The public is playing right into their hands. They use Black Lives Matter. They use black people. They use immigrants. Now they're using sexual assault. And now all of these multiple females coming out. Come on, man. Think about it. That sounds completely unreal. None of these females and dudes now thought about ever mentioning it because they got what they want. It was a fair exchange. So shouldn't these females that's coming out now, shouldn't they be charged for illegal prostitution? Because they put themselves on the market for a come up. They put themselves on the market. They told these men, I'll do anything. And I mentioned in videos of the past, I had females come to me and wanted me to do their portfolios, and they didn't have the money to pay for it. And I've had females say to me, I'll do anything for my portfolio. Those females, I sent them to a female photographer. I wouldn't even deal with them. I refused to be in a room with them by myself. I made sure somebody else was around when I talked to them. If they came inside my store and I'm in my store by myself, I walk outside. I walk outside where there's other people standing around so that none of these chicks could come back and do to me like they're doing to these guys that's in a political position. And these are guys that's in political position, that's in Hollywood. These are guys that's on the top. And you have females now that's coming forward that was probably more than likely paid. And they were also probably promised something. Listen, I'll help your political career if you just come forward and say Roy Moore sexually assaulted you. There don't have to be no truth to it. Just come and say it. Now, the burden of proof is on him. He has to prove that he didn't do that. So now these guys are like losing their families. If they're married, got children, their children now is being exposed to this. These guys are losing their positions. And they're saying like, look, I don't even know this chick, man. I ain't never went out with this female. I don't know what she's talking about. But because they're being tried in the eyes of public or social media, they're guilty. And now people are calling for their heads, calling for them to resign, because they have a political agenda where they want to put a Democrat in position. So next time, when there's an election, see, they just got done being exposed for rigging the last election. Yeah, right. See, that's what's going on now. They rigged these men's erections. These females came up, they rigged the men's erection. And they said, listen, I'll do anything. I'll rig your erection if you give me a position. So shouldn't these females be brought up on illegal prostitution charges? If these men lose their positions, if these men are charged, these females should also be charged too for prostitution, because they played the game. They played the game. They wanted that position, right? So anyway, I was going to read this article, but you guys can read it for yourself. I'll read a portion of it. I'll read the part where it says, Moore said he doesn't remember dating any girl without the permission of her mother. Now, that right there sounds kind of sketchy, because why would you need to ask your mother for permission? Unless, of course, in time past, men used to ask the parents or the father for their daughter's hand in marriage. You know, they wanted the approval of the parents. So I'm going to take it that that's what this guy meant when he says that he never dated a female or girl without the permission of her mother, but admitted that he dated a lot of young ladies when he returned from the military. Who didn't? Though not generally, 16 or 17-year-olds. All right? So he did say that. And then he says allegations of sexual misconduct with her are completely false. I believe they're politically motivated, he said. I believe they're brought only to stop a very successful campaign. And that's what they're doing. And then it says Moore's denials came as a growing wave of critics from within his own party blasted him as unfit for office. His own party. His own party. So why would his own party come against him if his own party didn't have an agenda themselves? They're playing right into the hands of the Democrats. His own party is. The Republican Party. Just like the Republican Party came against Trump. And then I'm going to read a little bit more. It says, innocent until proven guilty is for criminal convictions, not elections. So in other words, innocent until proven guilty is for criminal conviction, not elections. In other words, when you're a criminal, and we've seen from the past that wasn't even the case. Look at Bill Cosby. Look at all these other guys, man, that did time or had to pay out money to try to at least to keep from paying a lot of money. They paid these females off. Like, look, man, I'm gonna end up losing a lot of money in court, losing a lot of time. So I'll just give you what you want because that's why you're coming forward anyway, because you're a gold digger. But by them doing that, it's making it look like they're guilty. So it says, not for elections. In other words, anybody can come forth and lie on you, and you're innocent. You're guilty until proven innocent. So therefore, they want this man to drop out is for political reasons. It says her account is too serious to ignore. All these other females that came out, even with Bill Cosby, they were talking about, oh, it's too serious to ignore. Moore is unfit for office. Why? Because somebody came forward and lied? Think of all the guys, man, that took care of children behind a lie that a female came and says, it's your baby. So he's believing what this female said. He takes care of the child and then later find out the child is not his. And even when it's proven the child is not his, then the courts say the same so-called non-justice system says, well, because you're the only father that child knows, although she lied and deceived you, you're still responsible for that child because we're looking out for the best interests of that child, although she lied. And guess what? Nothing happens to her. Nothing happens to her for lying and deceiving this man and messing up his life because he was allegedly, in his own mind, owning up to his responsibility. Females are always saying, take care of your responsibility, man up. So then you get this guy that listens to this female because he sexed her. So she'll come, although she's been sexing 2 or 3 other guys, she'd come up and say, this your baby. And he, okay, well, cool, no problem. I'll take care of my child. Later to find out there's about 5 or 6 other dudes she was sexing. And then later learn the child is not his. Behind a lie. And nothing happens to that lying, deceptive female. What men have to do, men have to now start playing the system just like these gays, these transgenders, just like these females are, just like Black Lives Matter. Men need to stand up and start using the system to dispel a lot of these rumors or lies that's being brought against men. You know, why aren't men standing up fighting against the child support system? Why aren't men standing up trying to get these women convicted as well for prostitution? Right? So these females can come and offer themselves for status and position or for money, and it's okay. But if a man say, well, you know what? I got what you want. You got what I want. Let's make a deal. And she agrees to it. She agrees to that prostitution. She agrees to him tricking on her. And then later, years down the line, she come back and say he used his position of authority against me. And he made me sleep with him in order to get a position because I'm a woman. And now this guy is guilty before proven innocent. So I'm going to put this link on the bottom and you guys check it out. But this is all politics. This is all politics where they're trying to promote a political agenda. You know? And notice, it's not just one female coming forward. All these dudes that's being accused are being accused by multiple females. And it takes one person to come forward, and next thing you know, you have a whole string of other females coming forward lying on these men. Either just to be in the limelight or because they were promised something. You know? So check out this article. Feedback, tell me what you think. This is sad, man. Men need to stand up. Look at that. Moore denied the allegations in a written statement. Yep. Feedback, tell me what you think. Until next time, I'm fearless.